Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, my name is Heather Lewis, and today we are going to be working on this beautiful French Provincial dresser. This French Provincial dresser does have 4 large spacious drawers. It is a little bit smaller than your typical tall boy dresser, but it has all the beautiful detail that typical French Provincials do have. Unfortunately, the top drawer is missing some hardware, so we'll have to go ahead and switch that out. Otherwise, I do love the rest of the hardware and I do plan on keeping it. This dresser clearly needs a cosmetic makeover, so let's go ahead and get started. It's quite a bummer that this top hardware is missing because it's going to be really hard to try to find something that matches with this French Provincial hardware, but you're going to have to wait until the end to see how I do match them up. But for now, we're just going to take all the hardware off so that we can go ahead and get started on the rest of this makeover. So I actually didn't buy this dresser. I actually got it from my stepmom, who just doesn't have the space for it in our new house. So unfortunately, she can't be keeping it, but lucky for me, she's letting me go ahead and make it over and sell it, which is really awesome. Whenever you can get a free piece like this really helps with the profit margin. So anytime you can get your hands on a free piece, for the most part, at least I go ahead and I take it. The only exceptions to a free piece would be completely water damaged MDF. I would totally say no to that. There's no fixing that really. But other than that, free is always good. What's really nice about this is that the hardware is so old that it's super loose. So here's the hardware. It is definitely French Provincial style, but it's a little bit different. So I'm wondering if this maybe is kind of like a French Provincial knockoff, that, or there's different styles of French Provincials and I'm just not educated enough in it. If you are someone who is more educated on French Provincial pieces, comment down below and let me know if this is just a different style or perhaps a knockoff. So next up, now that the hardware is off, is sanding, and I like to use my DeWalt palm sander. However, if you did watch my last video, then you'll know that I did go ahead and hand sand most of the body because of the curves, and you just don't want to dull the curves down because that's what makes French Provincials so special. So I am going to go ahead and do the same. That white nightstand from the last video actually belonged with this dresser, which is really cool. I'm going to leave a link to that video up there so you guys can go ahead and check it out. I am not going to be painting the dresser in the same color because we are keeping the 2 nightstands, but I am going to be selling this dresser. Anytime before sanding, we have to go ahead and put a respirator on. When I first started sanding and furniture flipping, I was really bad at this, but I feel like I'm starting to get into a habit of putting this on. I really love this respirator. If you guys need a respirator for yourselves, I'll go ahead and link this down below. It also comes with some goggles, so that's pretty cool too. For sanding, I am using a medium grit sandpaper, and I'm also really taking my time on this top. The reason for that is because this top is super shiny. You can see it right there that it's so shiny. It's a laminate top, and I want to make sure that it is prepped so the paint adheres correctly and so that this doesn't happen in the future. If you are liking these furniture flipping videos, it would mean a ton to me if you could give this video a big thumbs up, comment something down below, and subscribe if you aren't yet. I also encourage you to turn on your post notifications so that you don't miss out when I upload a new video. Something that takes such little effort helps me out a ton, and I have a goal of making my YouTube channel a career, but I can't do it without you guys, so I appreciate all of the constant support. As I previously mentioned, after going through and sanding all of the flat surfaces with my sander, I am going back hand sanding all of the curves. I really love the curves that the French Provincial has, and I don't want to dull them down at all, so I am going back and hand sanding it because it's a lot more gentle. If you don't have a little bit of a mark from your face mask, you are not doing it right. Next up on the agenda in our prep work is cleaning. I like to use warm water and Dawn dish soap. I use that in just about every video, and that's okay because that's what works for me. After sanding, it's always time to clean because next up will be like paint and primer, and you don't want any grime, dirt, sawdust, anything left behind when primer goes on. So let's get into cleaning. This bottle of Dawn dish soap is on its way out because I use it literally so often. but that's okay because I know it does the job for getting every piece clean. This should be enough for this project, but I will definitely have to go to the store for the next project. I just like to use microfiber towels. I noticed that it really helps pick up all of the dirt, grime, grease, everything. So I will leave a link to some really good microfiber towels down below. You can get them off Amazon if you guys are interested. So let's go ahead and clean this piece. Okay, so at this point, there's clearly a bunch of suds on the dresser. I'm gonna go ahead and just get some warm water with no soap and just wipe this off. Another thing about cleaning is you definitely don't want any of the soap residue left behind because that too can screw up the primer and paint. So I'm gonna go ahead and just wipe this off and we'll get into the next step. While I was drying, I thought it would be kind of fun to give you guys a little bit of an update on Miss Kitty. She's getting so big. I don't know if you guys can even tell. Hold up, I gotta grab a chair. Much better. All right, so she's getting so much bigger. I don't know if you guys can even tell, but unfortunately, Kitty does have worms and mites. So we did go to the vet and we're in the process of getting all of that figured out. We do have to go one more time next month and then she should be good on both the worms and the mites, I believe. Her tummy is kind of bloated. I guess you probably can't tell on the camera, but her stomach is quite bloated, and I guess I thought that was from the mice, but that actually is from the worms. Not only do I know she has worms because I went to the vet, but unfortunately I actually got ringworm as well, which is kind of annoying, and I probably honestly shouldn't be petting her right now, but she's already got her first rounds of meds. I'm not a vet though, so I don't really know, but she can't go months without cuddles. That's like what she lives for. She is being treated. She is pretty healthy other than that, and she's definitely growing, and she's definitely eating mice, which is pretty cool. The ringworm that I got is not so cool, but it is what it is. It's like little mosquito bites. It really doesn't bother me that much. They're a little ugly though. I will go ahead and show you guys. Let me just go ahead and put her away. Bye, kitty. Okay, so I did just go wash my hands because I don't want to reinfect myself with the ringworm because apparently you can do that, but I've got, I guess I can't even show the camera. I've got one right here. It's on its way out, like it's definitely healing. And then if I move the camera, I've got this huge one right here, which you could actually see in the last video, but I wasn't ready to tell you guys yet. And then my face is definitely breaking out, but I do have some on my face, so that's like part of it. There's one right here, and then, I don't know, I have one like right there, so that's kind of annoying. I'm really hoping it goes away soon. It's not that big of a deal. It's just kind of like a bunch of mosquito bites, but it definitely is ugly and annoying. So I'm hoping it goes away. Hopefully I didn't just reinfect myself to show you guys that, but if I do, it is what it is. Back to the dresser. As soon as this completely dries, the next step will be priming. So I'll catch up with you guys in a couple seconds when it's completely dry. Okay. If you're not new here, you know the type of primer that I like to use, but if you are new, this primer is the Zinsser 123 primer. This is a great adhesion primer, and that's all that we should really need for this project. So anytime I'm using any type of paint, primer paint, top coat, anything, I like to make sure to stir it up good. Some product can get stuck at the bottom while the rest can float to the top, and I want to make sure that it is all mixed in. This lid is barely on at this point. I'm surprised that this primer is still good. I'm just making sure to really mix it up, and then we want to make sure to go ahead and prime everywhere. All right, that should be good. Let's go. Don't mind the mess as I moved you guys back so you guys can see a little bit more. I think I'm gonna go ahead and pull the drawers out because it'll just be so much easier for priming. Okay, so now that the primer's all dry, it's time to paint, and I am going to be using this paint again. I recently used it in that nightstand flip. I'll pop a picture up right here so you guys can see it. And unfortunately that nightstand has not yet sold, but I figured it'd be fun to add this in to the listing with the nightstand so it'd become a set. And on top of this, I actually also have a desk that I will be doing the same color and the same style. So it'll end up being a 3-piece set, which I think will help the nightstand sell better. And I'll get a higher profit since it's 3 pieces instead of 1. This paint is the Valspar Reserve paint. I did find this paint in the discount section at Lowe's for only $9. And as you can see, it looks like it has a lot of it blacked out. I'm not exactly sure why, but that's okay. It's mostly like a mint green color. Whenever there's been paint that has been kind of sitting around for a while, you want to make sure to go ahead and stir it up, otherwise it could look like this. So a good stir will fix that and get it all blended back together. And just like that, we're ready to paint. All right, so at this point, I just have to do the drawers and then the first coat is good. If I do remember correctly, I think we only needed 2 coats for this paint. This paint is awesome. I really like it a lot. Super smooth and super easy to put on. So I'm gonna let this dry. I'm gonna do the drawers off camera, and then I think I'll show you guys what I'm gonna do with the hardware as this dries. All right, so the hardware on the nightstand is black, so I'm not 100% confident in this decision, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and spray paint the French Provincial hardware black and hope that it turns out good. If all else fails, I can re-spray paint it gold and then spray paint the nightstand hardware gold as well. But I think for now I'm gonna try the black and see how that looks. Alright, so I think I'm gonna need to come back and do several coats, but I'd rather do that than just glob it on and do a bad job. So I'm suspecting maybe 3 coats. So the first coat is dry, so let's get into coat number 2. I did end up spray painting the hardware 3 times to get full coverage, and I think it looks amazing. After the second coat of paint was dry on the dresser, I put on the same top coat that I used on the nightstand, which was the Melange Paints Clear Matte Finish, and with that being said, let's get into the final reveal.
Try to make it new. You can't fight it when it feels so true. You drive me crazy like no one else. The final moment before I lose myself. And it's no use working 9 to 5.